Hello, I'm Pastor Aaron. Welcome to Redeemer Lutheran's Midweek Devotion. Thank you for listening. In the next several devotions that I share with you, I'm going to cover Psalm 88. Psalm 88, like Psalm 39, is pretty dark. And some things are said in prayer, in a prayer to God, that are not always true. It's a dark song that talks about darkness and having darkness as your only friend and companion. Kind of reminded me of the opening words of Simon and Garfunkel's song, The Sound of Silence, right? Hello, darkness, my old friend. I think Heman, the Ezrahite who wrote these words, might identify with that. So I'm just going to read the first few verses of this psalm, and we'll talk about that darkness and how it affects us as believers. He wrote this. He said, Lord, you are the God who saves me. Day and night I cry out to you. May my prayer come before you. Turn your ear to my cry. I am overwhelmed with troubles, and my life draws near to death. I am counted among those who go down to the pit. I am like one without strength. I am set apart with the dead, like the slain who lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, who are cut off from your care. You have put me in the lowest pit, in the darkest depths. Your wrath lies heavily on me. You have overwhelmed me with all your waves. You have taken from me my closest friends, and have made me repulsive to them. I am confined and cannot escape. My eyes are dim with grief. If you have, or even now, if you are suffering in a time of trouble, it might feel like you're in the darkness, and you probably can identify with these words of Heman, the Ezrahite who wrote them. If someone ever told you that being a Christian, following Jesus, meant that your life would be better and easier and things would all improve, they lied. That's not what Jesus says. The Bible is remarkably honest and transparent with us when it comes to our discipleship, our following of Jesus. And Jesus said, in this world you will have trouble. He said, you're going to have to daily deny yourself and pick up a cross to follow me. He said, you think I came to bring peace? No, I tell you, but a sword. Right? You're going to have all kinds of trouble and divisions. There are going to be dark days. He said, look, he asks us even to consider how the world treated him, and said, it's going to treat you the same way because you follow me. And he's right. And sometimes in the darkness, as Heman points out here, even God can seem like the enemy. Have you been there? Are you feeling that darkness and pain? If not, maybe you have felt it. It's real, isn't it? There are a few things, though, I'd point out to you. You might wonder, well, why would God let a psalm like this be recorded in His Word? I think there are good reasons why God would allow this. It's a sincere prayer from one of His dear children. But it tells us something. It tells us God's listening. God hears us. The other thing it tells us is that God really does know how we feel. We're going to see that in the weeks ahead as we continue with the words of this psalm, very reminiscent of what certainly Jesus must have endured and felt when He was suffering. The other thing I would remind you of, though, is because God is listening and because God knows how you feel, it means He's there with you. And that some of the things that Heman feels like here, that he expresses at truth, really aren't. But if you're struggling right now, here's what I want you to do. Keep talking to God. Keep expressing to Him the way you feel. Because God's listening. And He knows how you're hurting. And in time, He will give you the answers. And in time, if necessary, He will adjust. He will correct your thinking. But know right now that you have a God who loves you enough that He sent His own Son to sit in that darkness with you. In fact, to sit in a darkness that you and I know nothing about. Truly, all alone. So that you'll never be alone in your darkest moments. If you're struggling today, or if you have been struggling for a while, I want to assure you of this, that Jesus is listening. He is there with you. You keep talking, and I pray your week will get better.